Alpha Team is flying around the forest zone situated in northwest Raccoon City, where we are searching for the helicopter of our compatriots, Bravo Team, who disappeared during the middle of their mission.
Haven't found it yet?
No, not yet, Brad. Bizarre murder cases have recently occurred in Raccoon City. There are outlandish reports of families being attacked by a group of about 10 people. Victims were apparently eaten. The Bravo Team was sent in to investigate, but we lost contact.
Look, Chris!
Bravo Team's helicopter was a derelict. Save for the remaining body of Kevin. We continued our search for the other members, and it turned into a nightmare.
The Special Tactics and Rescue Service, or S.T.A.R.S, has a rich and complex history in the Resident Evil franchise, playing a pivotal role in the series' lore. Let's delve deeper into the formation, missions, and individual stories of the S.T.A.R.S members, exploring their character arcs and the lasting impact they have had on the Resident Evil universe. S.T.A.R.S was established to address situations that surpass the capabilities of conventional police forces. With Raccoon City facing increasing threats from organized crime and, unbeknownst to the public, sinister biohazard threats, the unit was formed to ensure rapid response and specialized intervention. The first major mission for S.T.A.R.S was to investigate the mysterious disappearances and brutal murders in the Arklay Mountains, which eventually led them to the Spencer Mansion. This mission marked the beginning of the series' narrative, as detailed in the original Resident Evil game. The aftermath of the Spencer Mansion incident saw the surviving members of S.T.A.R.S struggle to bring Umbrella Corporation's nefarious activities to light. However, Umbrella's far-reaching influence and corruption within Raccoon City's police and political systems stymied their efforts. Following the harrowing events at the Spencer Mansion, the surviving S.T.A.R.S members returned to Raccoon City, determined to expose Umbrella's bioweapons research. However, they faced several obstacles. Their reports were met with skepticism and outright dismissal by the authorities, who were under Umbrella's influence. Umbrella used its resources to cover up the incident, manipulating evidence and discrediting the S.T.A.R.S members. As a result, the S.T.A.R.S unit was disbanded, and its members were left to fend for themselves in their pursuit of justice. A short time after, the T-virus was accidentally released into the sewers of Raccoon City, leading to a catastrophic outbreak. The virus quickly spread throughout the city, turning its residents into flesh-eating zombies and unleashing other bioorganic weapons onto the streets. Chris left for Europe to investigate Umbrella's headquarters, while Burton took his family and moved to Canada. Rebecca helped Billy fake his death by writing a police report and then disappeared. Brad stayed with Jill, aiding her in Raccoon City as they gathered evidence against Umbrella. As the T-virus outbreak spiraled out of control, Jill became a primary target for the Nemesis T-type, a bioorganic weapon sent specifically to eliminate S.T.A.R.S members. During the chaos, Jill coursed through the infested city, encountering both survivors and Umbrella operatives. Her encounters with Nemesis were brutal and relentless, showcasing her resourcefulness and combat skills. Teaming up with Carlos Oliveira, a mercenary with a conscience, she fought her way through numerous obstacles, ultimately escaping the city before its destruction. Her experiences further fueled her resolve to dismantle Umbrella and combat bioterrorism on a global scale. The Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance, BSAA, was formed by the Global Pharmaceutical Consortium in response to the increasing threat of bioterrorism. Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine were among its founding members, and their experiences with S.T.A.R.S were instrumental in shaping the organization's mission and operations. S.T.A.R.S Bravo Team members. The Bravo Team, composed of 7 members, was the first to be dispatched to the Arklay Mountains. After their helicopter crashed, the team sought refuge in the Spencer mansion. Unfortunately, most of the Bravo team met their demise within the mansion. Enrico Marini, team captain. Enrico Marini was a veteran soldier and skilled survivalist, serving as one of the oldest members of the S.T.A.R.S Bravo team in the Resident Evil series. He often showed disdain towards Chris Redfield and Barry Burton, feeling threatened by their potential to undermine his position as team captain. In the original Resident Evil and its remake, Marini is encountered later in the game in the underground tunnels, where he is found wounded. He attempts to warn the player about a traitor within S.T.A.R.S. If the player is Chris, Marini initially suspects him, but is quickly shot and killed by an unseen assailant, later revealed to be Albert Wesker. When playing as Jill, Marini is less suspicious, but still meets the same fate. Examining his corpse provides the player with a hexagonal crank. Marini is the final Bravo squad member encountered in the game. In Resident Evil 0, Marini's role is expanded. He leads his Bravo team to the Arklay Mountains to investigate a series of homicides, discovering the wreckage of a military police van and the bodies of 2 officers. He mistakenly deduces that escaped convict Billy Cohen is responsible and leads a manhunt for him. Meanwhile, Bravo team member Rebecca Chambers meets Cohen and, believing in his innocence, teams up with him to survive. Throughout Resident Evil 0, Marini communicates with Rebecca via radio, eventually catching up with her in an underground Umbrella laboratory. He instructs her to follow him to reunite with the rest of the Bravo team at a mansion. Rebecca, however, chooses to search for Billy instead. Marini then heads off alone, leading to the events of Resident Evil. Rebecca later reflects that she never saw him again, marking the end of his story. Richard Aken, communications expert. Richard Aken was the communications expert for the S.T.A.R.S Bravo team, known for his friendly and inviting nature, especially towards new members like Rebecca Chambers. He played a crucial role in supplying communications for the Alpha team. In the Umbrella Chronicles, Richard is attacked by Cerberus dogs in Raccoon Forest, but escapes to the Spencer mansion. There, he finds Rebecca Chambers and suggests they find a safer place. While attempting to reach the attic to contact the rescue helicopter, they are attacked by a giant snake named Yawn. In Resident Evil, Richard survives the initial encounter with Yawn but is poisoned during the escape. He is eventually found by either Jill Valentine or Chris Redfield. If the player is Chris, Rebecca may also be present, depending on prior interactions. Richard asks Chris or Jill to find a serum to cure the poison. Regardless of how quickly the player returns with the serum, Richard succumbs to his injuries, but manages to hand over his radio before dying. His corpse also provides a handgun clip. In the Resident Evil remake, Richard's fate varies slightly. If the player returns with the serum in time, within 5 minutes, Richard can be temporarily saved and will stay in the pharmaceutical room to recover. However, he ultimately dies as the story progresses. In Jill's scenario, Richard assists her during a confrontation with Yawn. After a fierce battle, Yawn recedes, but Richard is fatally attacked while protecting Jill, being swallowed whole by the snake. If Jill leaves the room while Richard is still alive, she hears a scream, indicating his death. In Chris's scenario, Richard is not encountered again until the player reaches the aqueduct. Here, Richard sacrifices himself by pushing Chris out of the way of a giant shark, codenamed Neptune, and is killed in the process. Forrest Spire, marksman. Forrest Spire was the marksman for the S.T.A.R.S Bravo team and was responsible for vehicle and weapon maintenance. Known for his perfectionism and professionalism, he was highly regarded by his teammates and was considered one of Chris Redfield's closest friends in the unit. Forrest and his team were dispatched to Raccoon Forest to investigate a series of strange murders in the Arklay Mountains. During this mission, they were forced into the abandoned Spencer mansion. Forrest was eventually found dead on an outside balcony, having been pecked to death by T-virus-infected crows. In Jill's storyline, Forrest's body has a grenade launcher, which Jill can either find herself or receive from Barry. In Chris's storyline, Forrest's body only has a 9mm magazine clip. In the original Resident Evil, investigating Forrest's corpse triggers an attack from a murder of crows. In the director's cut and Deadly Silence versions, Forrest reanimates as a zombie. In the remake, Forrest's role is similar to the director's cut version. He appears dead on the balcony and eventually reanimates. Additionally, he features in the One Dangerous Zombie mode, unlocked after beating the game as either Chris or Jill. In this mode, a zombified Forrest covered in high-powered explosives chases the player throughout the mansion. Any attempt to attack him results in an explosion that kills the player, forcing the player to evade him. He disappears from the game once the mansion starts being patrolled by hunters. In this mode, Forrest's corpse is no longer on the balcony, but Jill can still obtain the grenade launcher. Kenneth J. Sullivan, Scout. Kenneth J. Sullivan was the point man for the S.T.A.R.S Bravo team, responsible for scouting and reconnaissance. He was also an accomplished chemist, handling chemical protection duties. Despite his powerful appearance, Kenneth was known to be a quiet and personal individual. He found it unusual that Albert Wesker selected him to be part of the elite force. In both the original Resident Evil and its remake, Kenneth is the first casualty of the Bravo team that the player discovers. After the Alpha team arrives at the mansion, the player investigates the sound of a gunshot and finds Kenneth being devoured by a zombie. In the original game, examining his corpse provides the player with 2 clips of ammunition. In the GameCube remake, Kenneth's role is expanded slightly. The player can find a video recording of Kenneth's final moments, which shows him being attacked by the zombie. This recording can be viewed later in the game, providing more context to his death. Kenneth's tragic end sets the tone for the horrors that the player will encounter throughout the game, marking the beginning of the Alpha team's nightmarish ordeal in the Spencer Mansion. Kevin Douly, Pilot. Kevin Douly was a member of the S.T.A.R.S Bravo team, known for his skills as an aviation mechanic and accomplished stunt pilot. He was responsible for flying the RPD's helicopters. Despite his background in the entertainment industry, Douly took his responsibilities as a pilot seriously and played a crucial role in rescuing lost civilians from the Arklay Mountains in Raccoon Forest. On July 23, 1998, Douly was assigned as the primary pilot for the Bravo team, with Edward Dewey as the co-pilot. That night, the helicopter experienced a catastrophic engine failure, forcing Douly and Dewey to make an emergency landing. Despite their efforts to control the aircraft, it collided with a tree branch, but they managed to bring it down in one piece. After the landing, Douly remained with the helicopter while the Bravo team scouted the area. During this time, mutant creatures attacked and split up the team. Douly was caught in the cockpit by a Cerberus, which gouged out his eyes and killed him. His mutilated body was discovered by S.T.A.R.S Alpha team member Joseph Frost the following night, shortly before Frost was also killed by the Cerberus pack. Kevin Douly's body is found mutilated in the original Resident Evil. He makes a brief cameo in the intro of the prequel game, Resident Evil 0. Despite his off-screen death, Douly's role as a dedicated pilot and his tragic end contribute to the harrowing atmosphere of the series. Rebecca Chambers, Medic. Rebecca Chambers is the youngest member and medic of the S.T.A.R.S Bravo team. She plays a supporting role in the original Resident Evil and is one of the 2 protagonists in the prequel Resident Evil 0. In addition to her medical duties, Rebecca is also a helicopter mechanic. Rebecca's story begins as she and the Bravo team are dispatched to the Arklay Mountains to investigate bizarre incidents near the Spencer Mansion. The team's helicopter crashes, but the members survive and discover a wrecked military transport. They learn that Billy Cohen, a condemned murderer, has escaped. Rebecca becomes separated from the team and finds herself on the Ecliptic Express, a train filled with zombies. She meets Billy Cohen, who saves her from an attack, and they decide to team up. As they explore a secret Umbrella training facility, Rebecca learns to trust Billy, who insists he was framed for the crime he was accused of. They face numerous threats, including Dr. James Marcus, who has been resurrected by leeches. After defeating the mutated Marcus, Rebecca and Billy escape the facility, before it self-destructs. Rebecca lies to her superiors, reporting that Billy died in the explosion, and she heads towards the Spencer mansion to regroup with her teammates. Rebecca enters the Spencer mansion and, after resting, teams up with Chris Redfield, one of the game's protagonists. She helps him solve puzzles and provides medical support. They find their teammate Richard Aken, who is wounded and later dies from his injuries. Rebecca assists Chris in various tasks, including mixing chemicals and playing the piano to unlock passages. Rebecca and Chris are later captured by Albert Wesker, who reveals his intentions to gather combat data. They witness the awakening of the tyrant, which seemingly kills Wesker. Rebecca aids Chris in defeating the tyrant, and together with Jill Valentine, they fend off zombies and signal for a rescue. The trio escapes the mansion moments before it is destroyed in an explosion. The Resident Evil: The Umbrella Chronicles game revisits Rebecca's story in the two initial games. Rebecca teams up with Billy to defeat Dr. Marcus and later reunites with Richard Aken in the Spencer mansion. They fight against the giant snake, Yawn, but Richard succumbs to his injuries. Rebecca continues to play a supportive role, assisting Chris and Jill in their battle against the infected. Rebecca is mentioned in Resident Evil 2 and appears in Resident Evil 5's The Mercenaries mode, though these appearances are considered non-canon. She has also been featured in non-canon books and comics. In Resident Evil Vendetta, 16 years after the Raccoon City incident, Rebecca is now a professor researching a cure for a new virus strain developed by bioterrorist Glenn Arias. When the facility she works at is attacked, she is saved by Chris Redfield and his BSAA team. Rebecca discovers that the virus can be activated by an external trigger. Despite being kidnapped by Arias, Rebecca uses her knowledge to help Chris and Leon S. Kennedy defeat the bioterrorists. She is eventually cured of the virus and assists in neutralizing the threat in New York. A year after the New York bioterrorist attack, Rebecca assists Leon, Chris, Jill Valentine, and Claire Redfield in investigating mysterious infections affecting Alcatraz tourists. Edward Dewey, rear security and substitute pilot. Edward Dewey was a member of the S.T.A.R.S Bravo team, serving as the rear security officer for the RPD's elite unit. He also acted as the co-pilot in Resident Evil 0. Dewey played a minor but significant role in Resident Evil 0, providing early insight into the game's unfolding events. In Resident Evil 0, Edward Dewey is one of the few Bravo team members with dialogue during the opening cutscene. Alongside his team, he discovers the bodies of dead military policemen and a clipboard detailing the crimes of U.S. Marine Billy Cohen. Dewey quickly concludes that Billy killed the MPs and escaped, calling him scum. During Rebecca Chambers' investigation of the Ecliptic Express train, she encounters Edward, who dramatically crashes through a window, badly bruised and with bite marks. He warns Rebecca of the zombies and monsters in the forest before dying in front of her, making him the first Bravo team casualty in the game. Examining Edward's corpse provides the player with handgun ammunition. Later in the game, Edward reappears as a zombie. This zombified version of Edward is notably tougher than regular zombies, reflecting his significance as a former S.T.A.R.S officer. The encounter with zombie Edward varies slightly depending on whether the player is controlling Billy Cohen or Rebecca Chambers. If Rebecca faces him, there is a short cutscene showing her sorrow at seeing her former comrade transformed. When Billy encounters zombie Edward, the game continues without additional cutscenes. Alpha Team. The Alpha Team, consisting of 6 members, was dispatched to investigate the disappearance of the Bravo team. Upon arrival, they were ambushed by Cerberus dogs, forcing them to seek refuge in a nearby mansion. Inside, they encountered the horrors resulting from the Umbrella Corporation's bioengineering experiments. During their investigation, Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Barry Burton, and Brad Vickers uncovered Albert Wesker's betrayal. It became evident that Wesker had orchestrated the events to gather combat data and advance his own ambitions within Umbrella. Albert Wesker, team captain and commander of S.T.A.R.S. Albert Wesker was a prominent antagonist in the Resident Evil series. Initially, he served as the captain of the S.T.A.R.S Alpha team while secretly working for the Umbrella Corporation. Wesker's true allegiance was to Umbrella, where he played a key role in developing bioweapons like the T-virus. Over time, Wesker betrayed Umbrella to pursue his ambitions. He injected himself with a prototype virus, gaining superhuman abilities and aiming for global domination. He orchestrated numerous bioterror events, becoming a central villain in the series. Wesker's death came in Resident Evil 5. He planned to release the Ouroboros virus to create a new world order, but was ultimately confronted by Chris Redfield and Shiva Alomar. In the game's climax, Wesker is killed in a volcano after being injected with the virus and subsequently destroyed by rocket launchers. Wesker's character is known for his cold, calculating nature and distinctive appearance, often seen wearing sunglasses. His legacy continues to impact the Resident Evil storyline, influencing various plots and characters throughout the series. Chris Redfield, Point Man. Chris Redfield is one of the primary protagonists in the Resident Evil series, known for his tenacity and dedication to fighting bioterrorism. He first appears in the original Resident Evil as a member of the Raccoon Police Department's S.T.A.R.S unit, alongside his partner Jill Valentine. Over the years, Chris has evolved from a skilled Special Forces operative into a key figure in global anti-bioterrorism efforts. Chris begins his journey as a member of the S.T.A.R.S Alpha team, dispatched to investigate strange occurrences in the Spencer Mansion. There, he uncovers the horrifying truth about Umbrella Corporation's experiments and bioweapons, including the T-virus. This initial encounter sets the stage for Chris's lifelong battle against bioterrorism. Following the Raccoon City incident, Chris, along with Jill Valentine, helped to establish the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance, or BSAA, an organization dedicated to combating bioterrorism globally. Their efforts led them to various hotspots around the world, including a significant mission aboard the Queen Zenobia, an ocean liner used by terrorists to spread the T-Abyss virus. In Resident Evil 5, Chris teams up with Shiva Alomar to investigate bioterrorist activities in the Kajuju Autonomous Zone in Africa. They confront Ricardo Irving, a bioterrorist distributing the Ouroboros virus, and eventually face off against Chris's longtime nemesis, Albert Wesker. This mission culminates in Wesker's death, marking a significant victory in Chris's fight against Umbrella and its remnants. Chris continues to battle bioterrorism in subsequent games. In Resident Evil 6, he leads BSAA missions across the globe to contain multiple outbreaks of the C-virus. Later in Resident Evil 7, Chris, redesigned for a more realistic appearance, assists in the cleanup of the Baker incident, working with the reformed Umbrella Corporation. In Resident Evil Village, Chris plays a complex role, appearing initially as an antagonist. His actions are later revealed to be part of a larger plan to protect Ethan Winters and eliminate a significant bioterror threat. Jill Valentine, machinery expert. Jill Valentine is a central character in the Resident Evil series, renowned for her role in combating bioterrorism. She begins her journey as a member of the S.T.A.R.S Alpha team, investigating the Spencer Mansion incident in the original Resident Evil game. Her resourcefulness and combat skills make her one of the few survivors of the Mansion incident. In Resident Evil 3, Jill attempts to escape Raccoon City during a T-virus outbreak. She is relentlessly pursued by Nemesis, a bioweapon sent to eliminate S.T.A.R.S members. Her determination and survival skills enable her to outlast the chaos and ultimately escape the city before its destruction. Post-Raccoon City, Jill joins Chris Redfield in founding the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance. Together, they tackle numerous bioterror threats worldwide. Jill's most notable mission during this time is the investigation of the Queen Zenobia ship, where she uncovers a plot involving the T-Abyss virus. In Resident Evil 5, Jill is captured and subjected to mind control by Albert Wesker, resulting in her being used as a weapon against her allies. Chris and Shiva Alomar eventually rescue her, and Jill aids in the final battle against Wesker. Jill continues her fight against bioterrorism, playing significant roles in various missions, including those depicted in Resident Evil Revelations and Resident Evil Vendetta. Her character has undergone multiple redesigns throughout the series, reflecting different phases of her career and the evolving art style of the games. Barry Burton, Weapons Specialist. Barry Burton is a seasoned member of the S.T.A.R.S Alpha team, known for his role in maintaining and supplying weapons. He played a pivotal part in the events of the Spencer Mansion incident in Resident Evil. Barry was blackmailed by Albert Wesker into cooperating with Umbrella Corporation's schemes under threats to his family, but eventually turned against Wesker to aid his team. After the Mansion incident, Barry chose to protect his family by relocating to Canada, but he returned to rescue Jill Valentine from Raccoon City during its destruction. He later joined the BSAA, taking on an advisory role and participating in several anti-bioterrorism missions. His journey continues in Resident Evil Revelations 2, where he embarks on a mission to rescue his daughter Moira from a remote island. Barry is known for his deep sense of loyalty to his friends and family, balancing his duties as a combat specialist with his responsibilities as a father. His character is marked by his dedication, tactical expertise, and the personal struggles he faces due to the dangerous nature of his work. Joseph Frost, Front Security. Joseph Frost was a member of S.T.A.R.S Alpha Team, specializing in vehicle maintenance and serving as the team's mechanic. In the original Resident Evil, Joseph was part of the mission to investigate the mysterious occurrences in the Arklay Mountains. Upon arriving at the scene, the team was ambushed by Cerberus dogs. Joseph was the first to fall, attacked and killed by the mutant dogs while attempting to retrieve a weapon from the downed Bravo team's helicopter. His death was a pivotal moment, marking the beginning of the team's harrowing ordeal. Brad Vickers, pilot. Brad Vickers was a member of the Raccoon Police Department's S.T.A.R.S Alpha Team, known for his timid nature and roles as the team's pilot and computer expert. He played a key role during the Mansion incident, but fled in fear when Joseph Frost was killed, though he later assisted his teammates by dropping a rocket launcher to defeat the tyrant. In Resident Evil 3, Brad warns Jill Valentine about the Nemesis, a bioweapon hunting S.T.A.R.S members. He is bitten by zombies and dies running from Nemesis at the Raccoon police station. In the remake, Brad's fate is similar, but he doesn't encounter Nemesis. Instead, he is ultimately infected by a zombie, becoming one himself before being put down by Carlos Oliveira. In Resident Evil 2, Brad appears as a special zombie as an Easter egg and drops a key for killing him that will allow you to change the costume of the player character. To find Brad as a zombie in Resident Evil 2, the player must select the normal difficulty and reach the Raccoon City police station without picking up any items or weapons. The legacy of S.T.A.R.S is a cornerstone of the Resident Evil franchise. The unit's story not only introduces players to the series' main characters and themes, but also sets the stage for the ongoing battle against Umbrella and bioterrorism. The bravery and sacrifice of the S.T.A.R.S members resonate throughout the series, influencing the motivations and actions of subsequent characters. The S.T.A.R.S narrative is one of camaraderie, betrayal, and resilience. The members' diverse skills and personalities provided a rich tapestry for the franchise's storytelling, and their experiences laid the groundwork for the expansive Resident Evil universe. In conclusion, the story of S.T.A.R.S is integral to understanding the Resident Evil series. From their formation to the harrowing events of the Mansion incident and beyond, the members of S.T.A.R.S have left an indelible mark on the fight against bioterrorism. Their legacy continues to inspire and drive the ongoing battle against the forces of Umbrella and other sinister entities in the Resident Evil universe. Hey, don't go just yet. If you enjoyed my video, I'd love to recommend another one for you to watch.